Yeah. Yeah, we'll just meet.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Charlotte. So we'll we'll let people start connecting, and then slowly steadily we'll start getting on with the beers. For those who can hear me talking as we go in, the first beer we'll be trying tonight is Riding with the Ghost. So if you've got some beers ready, if you're waiting to see which one's first, that'll be the first one we enjoy. So if you need to grab it, please do. And we just got a couple I can see just joining there as well, so we'll let them join too. And then we'll get underway with our usual monthly beer. A few more there connecting. Everyone just coming online now. Fantastic. Okay. I'm sure there'll be a few more coming along as we go through. I know it's a beautiful sunny evening suddenly after we had all the rain earlier today, and of course the big heat wave we had too. So appreciate everyone taking the time this evening to come along to sit with us, to enjoy some beers and learn more about the beers we have this month in Beer Club. So thank you all very much. My name's James. I'm the export manager at the brewery. Joined today, we've got Charlotte Walker, who's joining us on the Thornbridge brewery name there. We've got Don Metcalf, our sales and marketing director. We've got Charlotte Bully, who's just in the corner there, who's our events and marketing coordinator, and then we've got Nick as well, who's joined us from Pomona Island too. So sharing a screen there, which is always nice. And then, so yeah, that's the crew talking you through this evening. As I say, first beer up is going to be Riding with the Ghost. We are going to talk through all 5 beers. We're going to finish talking about a 12% beer. So as always, there's no pressure to drink all of them, to feel you need to drink along at the time. You can, excuse me, you can always look back over on the YouTube when you get to drinking those different beers and still learn about them then. And of course, we'll be talking through them, so you'll hear them as we go. But firstly, most importantly, let's get a beer. I need something to drink, I think, there. So we'll pour off first. We've got our Pomona Island beer that we went over, we collabed with them too. And we've got Nick, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about this beer while we all enjoy it.
Yeah, sure. So this is a small pale, it's just a 3.3% pale, double dry hopped. Quite a nice colour on that. So the dry hop in this, I believe, is Enigma, Eldorado. I think there's a bit of Mosaic and a bit of Talus. So I don't know about you. Again, like from the Eldorado and the Enigma, like really, really peachy vibes in it. Yeah. And then, you know, a little bit of like tropicalness from the Mosaic that's a bit understated in this one. And then with Talus, we really like using it. It's one of those hops that sort of brings a sort of little bit of difference to the sort of usual American sort of juicy style ones. So you get really like sort of grassy notes from this, like sort of freshly cut grass kind of stuff, a little bit herbaceous. Sort of not the thing we're looking for in every single beer we do, but we make a lot of double dry hop pales, so we really like them to have a little point of difference. So in this one, I think it just adds a little bit more complexity to it than you know, your typical just Mosaic Citra sort of bomb.
Yeah, fully get like there's a lot of those out there, so I certainly agree. For me, it's almost tastes a little stronger than I'd expect actually. You know, at 3.3, but it's got so much body in it. It is really like great mouthfeel. Oh,
thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you've picked up on that. Something we really go for in all of our pale ales. We try to get like a really big sort of thick body on it. Yeah, this, you know, the drinking over 3.3, I think it's quite a big hop bill. You know, it's a sort of hop bill we use in all our pale ales. So you get quite like big hoppy flavors, which kind of helps with that. You know, it makes you think you're drinking something a bit more IPA-ish than, you know, sort of 3.3% beer.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I'd agree. Yeah, and like you say, the big tropical notes coming through, even that aroma, again, you see it, you drink it, and you think it's at least 4%, but everything comes through, and yeah, very easy, light and drinkable whilst having that flavor. So I know the guys were excited to come and see you and brew up together at the Pomona Brewery. So yeah, thanks for having us.
No, thank you. Thanks for coming and thanks for having us on the return. But yeah, we have like a connection with Thornbridge, like people through sort of working at Marble have kind of worked with brewers from Thornbridge before. I think, it was a smaller industry back then. So it's like, there's always a lot of connection between those kind of breweries. But one of our founders brewed at Marble, and so he knows a lot of the Thornbridge guys from back in that day, past and present. So there's always a bit of a link.
Definitely. Oh, fantastic. And I mean, would you mind, I know most people, of course, will know Pomona Island. You've got such a good reputation already for, after 2017, I think you founded, and people know you, but if you don't mind talking us through that history. You mentioned the founders and starting at Marble, but give us a bit of a rundown, tell us more about yourselves, and then it gives people a chance to learn a bit more. So
we started very DIY in 2017. Myself and one of the other guys who started it, Ryan, have like a craft beer bar in Manchester called the Gas Lamp, and then Gads had worked at Marble Brewery for some time. So we were looking to start something, kind of found something in Yorkshire that we nearly started. It was very, very small, sort of a 5-barrel brewery with a little shop, which would have been a sort of little cottage industry for us. But it fell through. And in that time, we sort of decided that we'd probably undercook a little bit, and we would have just been sort of stuck sort of found this brewery that was all set to go. It was actually a Seven Brothers brewery. I don't know if you're aware of those guys. It was their old unit. They were just looking to scale up. So everything was kind of already in place, but it was quite a poor, like equipment wise, it was a poor brew kit, and there were just 2 open top FVs. So we started very, very small with not a lot of budget, mainly making cask beer. And we sort of built up from there and put everything back into it. So we've got quite a decent kit now. I mean, not like some of the millionaire breweries, but like, it's good enough, and we've got decent cold side stuff on the fermenting vessels. So we've kind of just built up over the time. And, when the pandemic hit, we were really lucky, really, because we just managed to get a canning line at the start of it. We managed to continue making beer and putting everything back. And we've never really stopped despite that. I mean, for about a week, we had one member of staff at the time. We furloughed them for 2 or 3 days and then needed them back. So it's kind of grown from there.
Fantastic. And that's good timing, like you say, with the pandemic coming and getting the canning line just before. It was a big scramble after that.
And we've been getting a little bit noticed on social media, and we were getting our beer out into the bottle shops and everything like that, but we definitely didn't have much of a reputation. But we've just been able to get beer direct to customers so much, really sort of grew probably like a couple of years in that first year. It would have taken us a lot longer to get there. So it was a strange time because, it was obviously really awful. And like we were sort of facing a bit of an existential crisis, but at the same time, we were just working so much that we were quite lucky, really. We're sort of insulated from it all.
Good. Yeah, that's, I suppose, the best way to get through it, really. And now you come out with a great reputation and everything else as well from it. So perfect.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of people on here won't really know who we are. We're still quite small relatively, especially going around the Thornbridge brewery the other day was it's pretty impressive, and it's exciting to see what things could be. Although I don't think we have ambitions to get anywhere that big.
Well, one day, it's still there. It's we started out small and then have grown as well. And again, with that quality of everything you do. Actually, one thing that always stands out is the names of your different beers that you do as well, of course. So, I mean, do you mind telling us the story behind this one with the Riding with the Ghost?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our names are sort of references to things we like. So this was it's a guy called Jason Molina. He's a sort of Americana folk singer. He's not around anymore, but 3 of us went to go see him in Manchester sort of 20 odd years ago. And he's just, like someone who's a bit sort of special to us. So named it after that. And then the artwork on the cans there. I mean, everything we do is still kind of a bit of a DIY kind of thing. So our designer is a friend of ours, and the illustrator is Gaz's wife, Miko. You can see on the back of the cans, it's got her like Instagram and stuff like that. Which, you know, she's not a professional illustrator, but she's really like amazing, and it gives it everything a real personality by not being a little, you know, too polished. I think it's got a little bit of that character, and you can tell it's quite a DIY brewery. It's not really slick.
Although you say that, but I looked through my feed just earlier, you know, I know the beers and everything, but it's nice to see it. And that, for me, that does look quite slick. I thought it looked good. You know, it was very nicely done. Everything's so clean. Yeah, and distinctive as well between each one, as you say, with the different artwork.
Probably
Too,
means
so it's cool.
Getting away with it.
maybe that's it.
I think, you know, like in terms of the brewing side of it, we are very professional, and would, like, you know, we will concentrate really hard on the types of beers we want to make and the process and everything like that. We sort of pride ourselves in that, but, you know, outside of it, as you know, we like to muck about as well, and like have daft names for beers, and yeah, show a bit of a like fun side to it.
It works for sure. And on that, if anyone has any questions or anything, just please keep popping them in the chat that we've got on the side there. So we've still got another collaboration beer to talk about too. So please, any questions that you've got for Nick, anything about the brewery, anything at all like that, please send them away. It's always nice to have that back and forth and the interaction. We'll answer all the questions that come in as well. So talking of Nick, where can people find you? Are you coming to any events soon? Are you pouring anywhere we can come and see you?
Yeah, we're if anyone's local, we're at Manchester Craft Beer Festival this weekend. We've got London Craft Beer Festival in a few weeks, and I think in between that we're at Hop Farm, which is in Manningtree. Anyone's down south?
Nice, perfect, good, yeah. And then also, I mean, I know you mentioned briefly earlier about all the different beers, but you know, I know you've got your website. Is there any particular beers we should be looking out for in the shop coming up? Any other collabs you've got? Any special beers you're excited about, or anything you can tell us?
Yeah, I mean, we release about sort of 3 beers a week on the web shop, so you can check out there. There's a code, My First Pomona, all caps, will get you 20% off your first order.
Nice.
We've got a beer coming out in a couple of weeks. It's we've got quite a big barrel age program, which is we haven't done a lot of releases, but it is building up, and they will start to come through more sort of thick and fast now. And the next one out, we've got 375ml bottles of made like a pineapple Vedita sour, which is kind of, Vedita is what they drink in Mexico with tequila. It's a soft drink, but it's like a little shot of like pineapple, lime, coriander, chili. So we made a pineapple sour with that kind of base, and we barrel aged it in a mezcal barrel. So that's really fun. It's tasting really good. That'll be out in a couple of weeks. And we've also got another barrel aged beer on there. It's big 750ml bottles of Tonka vanilla cognac stout. So if you like that kind of thing, there's some fun stuff as well as the usual sort of pale ales and IPAs and West Coasts and sours and that.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds really good. Yeah, I'm intrigued by that one as well. So
we might be bringing a little bit to Peakender, so
please do. Yeah, just for my own sake. So that'd be good. And actually, already Steve's just mentioned in the chat there, looking forward to you being at Peakender, as are we, of course. But yeah, so that's certainly somewhere you'll be able to find a range of the beers. Hopefully, that one you just mentioned there as well, the barrel aged, would be great. So no pressure, but you know, if you happen to bring it along. And then yeah, so we'll have you there. You'll be pouring a range of beers. So I know lots of the guys on the chat tonight will be coming along to Peakender, so hopefully they'll come along and meet you there. And what was it first? My First Pomona?
Yeah, My First Pomona, 20% off, just off your first order, but you know, there's other offers come along and as and when.
Well, yeah, I'll pop that in the chat as well. Hopefully I put that right, I think. And then, yeah, if anyone gets the chance, please take the opportunity to try some of them fun beers as well. So, and then while, you know, we've got you, before we took into the Salica, was there anything else you had at all in mind you wanted to talk about this evening with us, or should we tuck into the next beer first and then go from there?
Let's get into the Salica, because I'm looking forward to trying this.
Me too. I saw Dom, our sales marketing director, is already on this one here. I've been enjoying it at the weekend. It's been a firm favourite down at the brewery.
Yeah, and in our brewery as well.
Yeah, good. I mean, this weather alone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a perfect beer for the sunshine.
Yeah, please, if anyone else has enjoyed this over the weekend, like I say, let us know. It was nice going into the weekend. For the first time, I'm in a slightly different location here as I moved house over this weekend. It's been very hot, very sweaty, but the Salica has been perfect for sort of quenching that thirst as well. So I'm glad we bought this one out at the right time. And this is so we do the home and away legs almost of the collabs we like doing. So we get the opportunity to come down to visit the different breweries, of course, in this case, Pomona Island. People come and see us, we hang out, we've got possible too. But this one, so we looked at different names. This one, Salford, where Pomona Island are, was also known as the Ford by the Willows, is where the name originally comes from. And we thought, as it's an Italian lager, actually Dom came out with the name brewer, Salice, which is willow in Italian. So we thought it had a nice ring to it, a nice little story with it as well. And then Nick, if you don't mind talking us through this beer as well, tell us a little bit, how you came to make it with the guys.
Yeah, well, the sort of truth of it is one of the things we are working on is our lagers, and it's probably not our strongest suit just yet. So we were talking with, kicking around a few beer ideas, and I know there's a couple of people at Thornbridge who are very proud of the lager they make. So we were like, yeah, brilliant. It was suggested to us. We were like, we'd love to come to Thornbridge and see how you boys do it. So that sort of kicked it off, and then just popping around a few ideas. And I think an Italian Pilsner had been on the table for a while, so we sort of jumped in on that. But it's perfect for us because it's such a sort of clean lager style, with quite sort of assertive bitterness, which I really enjoy particularly, but we all sort of do in the brewery. We make a lot of West Coast IPAs as well in our brewery, and they're always the ones that get drunk the quickest. So I don't know if like usually on craft beer things, there's some people who are not massive lager drinkers, but in any brewery, it's probably the number one thing that people want to drink. So, we're massive fans of it. And it's come out brilliantly. Like it's got, what you want from an Italian Pilsner, but obviously the bitterness, got a bit of that sort of grassiness as well. And it just makes you want to come back for more. So yeah, we were fortunate enough to get a few cases delivered, and they've gone rather quick in the last heat wave. So
yeah, it's the same at the brewery. Dom, our director here, just mentioned he picked the case at the brewery today. I'm going to be getting some. Now I've actually installed and in, I can put some more beers and startiness in it, and that, you're right, it's perfect for it. It doesn't have that, there's no big American hops or anything. It's not overpowered by that big tropical or mango or anything like that. It's just that nice bitterness, gives the drinkability, it makes it really just something just very thirst quenching.
Well, it's very true to the style of Italian Pilsner, and just what you want. But I mean, it's very enjoyable to drink.
Yeah, there's, the classic, the teapot pills and all the other ones is, they make the great beers to start with. So when I realized that's what we're doing, I was very excited, and it certainly holds up to some of those originals as well. So no, it's a good beer. I'm hoping people have been enjoying it as well. And there's going to be some more sun probably this summer. So certainly get some in the fridges and make sure people try it if you've enjoyed it as well. But yeah, so that takes us through the first two beers there, and and then come out and see the guys at all the different events and festivals that they have coming up to, and definitely a Peakender as well. So I'll probably see you around before then, Nick, but I'm looking forward to being at Peakender. If we're doing some tastings or different things as well, it'd be great. Actually doing them in person is always nice. So looking forward to that. And then from here, so we'll talk about the other beers, Nick. Thank you again for taking the time to join us, though. It's much appreciated. And if anyone, again, has any more questions, pop them in. We can always answer them. Always go on the website. And like I say, the Instagram feed alone for Pomona Island is lovely to look at. So go and check them out on their socials as well.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. All right, so that takes us through those first couple of beers there. Again, with thanks to the team there. So we'll talk a little more about one of the Thornbridge beers we have next. So as always, we'll work our way up in order as we go through these. So the next one that we'll talk about is the Quiet Storm. So this is the Huell Melon. And Quiet Storm, as you know, is our series that we have, our single hop showcase of beers, named after an American football podcast we were listening to. The Quiet Storm, we thought that's a perfect name for this series, where that differentiation within the hops, there's still all that big flavor. And hopefully, you know, I've found it myself. I've drunk lots of beers over the years, of course, but it is really nice to have these focused beers where you can pick out hops and in honesty, ones that I wouldn't have a beer solely with, like the Huell Melon beforehand. It's bred from the Cascade, so it's taken over from the US and then bred it through to create something similar to that in Germany, to have this kind of new wave but still traditional European hop. And they talk about it being bred to have this kind of, as you'd expect, some melon in there, some strawberry notes as well. For me, it's got this really nice, like, floral, grassy character as well, and drinks very, very easily. So I think we've done well having these nice, easy drinking pale beers for the heat wave that we certainly were all expecting, of course, in British summertime. But it's got that nice light. We've done a couple of the Quiet Storms so far. They've been the hazier ones when we've experimented with, like, the Nelson Sauvin, the Galaxy. But for this one, we've kept it nice and clear. And again, it's just all about that different hop variety. So if you've been you know, sensible and you've kept some and saved a couple of the different ones, you can try them next to each other. If you've got some different American versus German, or however you like to do it, it's a good opportunity, hopefully, is what we've intended with it, to be able to put something together where we can show off the different strengths and the different flavor profiles you'd expect. And then even when, you know, as Nick dissected that first beer that we had there, each individual hop, we get to that stage where you start drinking beers with a few different hops in. I know, actually, I recognize this and I recognize this as well. And that's what we like to do. We want to keep this series educational. There'll certainly be more coming out over the next few months as well. And they'll be coming up next too. So from there, actually, Paul, just looking in the chat there, talking about the lack of sweetness on that, the Salica as well. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, Paul. That's what we mentioned, that bitterness just keeps it really fresh on the end as well. You get the different styles of lagers, some much softer, some with that bitterness. And for me, that drinkability really just adds to it so well. And then from here, I think we had some events ourselves coming up as well. Charlotte, I can see you're just on there. If you fancy jumping on, talking to us a little bit about what we have coming up with Splendor and everything else as well.
Yeah. So I think Charlotte's been at Splendor all day, setting up. So Splendor's this weekend. It's the Saturday and Sunday this weekend. But we're also at Tramlines. I think that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Again this weekend. And actually tonight we're at the Chesterfield Arms doing a bit of a Peakander event. I'd like a tap takeover, and there's some Peakander giveaways there. And I think there might be a few more events like that coming up. So that's something to keep an eye out for on our socials. And obviously the next big event for us is Peakander after that. And we're all gearing up for that at the brewery. So yeah, they're the most recent events we've got coming up. Obviously we've got quite a busy September as well, but I'll save that for next month.
Well, perfect. How was it, Charlotte, down at Splendor? All ready?
Yeah, it's looking great. Really
excited.
excited. We're on Cask and Keg there, so you can find us on the main bar in the arena, or if you splashed out for VIP, we've got our own setup there as well. Good range of styles. So you can get all the classics, Dry Pour and Lucas, obviously, on all of the bars, because we couldn't not. But there's also Market Porter and Green Mountain up in the VIP, and we'll have a massive range of cans too. We've got a couple fridges up there. So if anyone's heading up, be sure to go check out all of the options. We've got the deck chairs as well. So if the weather's nice, you can grab a seat. So yeah, it's looking really good. really excited. I think it'll be a really good weekend. So if anyone's around the Nottingham area or can get there, I definitely recommend looking into getting tickets because the lineup's actually quite good too. I don't know if it's showing my age, but there's like Craig David and Belinda Carlisle and people like that playing. But yeah, should be a good lot. I'm absolutely covered in cask beer. I'm not going to lie to you. I tapped all of them, invented them, and got sprayed by about half of them, I'd say. So, bit of Lord Marples, bit of Market Porter, bit of Astrid. It's all going on.
Wow. Well, so if anyone is there, you appreciate those pints even more as Charlotte's put herself in harm's way getting them out of there. So, well, I'm sure it will be appreciated though, Charlotte. And then as Charlotte Walker was saying with the big events, tramlines, and of course Peakender as well too. So what beers, so we've got pouring all across tramlines. What can we find there this weekend for people going?
So tramlines were on I think there's like just one massive beer bar, and we've got Jaipur, and then in the park, which is tramlines like charity beer, which would just be like a super smashable pale. So if you don't fancy the 5.9% of Jaipur, then I definitely recommend grabbing a pint of that because it is tasting good and does, I think it's 50p from every pint goes to charity. So do some good work as well.
Well, cool. And then actually just a question there from Aled on news on the TBC events for Peakender. Have we got them together yet? I know of course we're going to have some meet and greets and some brewery tours.
Yeah, I think the brewery tours up at the tap room are locked in now with Dom Driscoll, so he's going to be running all of those. I think we're doing 3 or 4 different time slots. So those will be available to book. So you will be able to know what time you can get in there. And we'll also have some, I think we've got like pastries and coffee and things like that going on because they are in the morning. But if you would like a pint, you are more than welcome to have a pint as well. So we don't judge here. Peakender's like airport rules. So tuck in if you please.
For sure. And I'll be down in the tap room myself as well, making sure not to judge anyone either and enjoying a drink too. So yeah, we'll definitely be there. Well, thanks, Charlotte. I know you've literally just got back in from Splendor as well. So thank you for coming on and telling us about what we've got coming up as well. Appreciate it.
No worries.
All right. And then, so I suppose we're talking about beer and a bit more. So we've got the 4th beer here. So we've worked through the Quiet Storm. And actually we brought back quite a fun beer. So this one we brewed, the Guinevere, has been a beer that we've done a couple of times over the years in the past. It's a beer that we've had always demand to bring back to. We had to wait until the summer as it felt like a perfect beer style for them. It is a wit beer originally, so it's that classic kind of Belgian with a little Dutch as well on the beer style. You know, you've got that nice, when you pour it, you'll get those classic flavors you'd expect from a wit beer. You're going to have that little bit of like the herbal, slightly medicinal. It's going to be dry, almost to a tart, slightly sour finish on there. It's got that nice white haze right the way through it as you'd want. Traditionally, you'd have some different kind of herbs and different things coming through in this one. And we've actually really packed this. You know, we've got juniper berries, orange peel. There's actually a little bit of lavender and rosemary in here as well on top. So everything comes together. And really the key with something like this, you don't want it to be this like potpourri, like really over the top. You want to be able to pull the flavors out and have something refreshing as well. And we talked about a Salica in the sunshine, but for me, this really works as well. And I love drinking, you know, it's a traditional style with that little extra addition of that more gin style to it with the juniper. However, just the moment you put your nose in it, just have a smell and instantly you get this fantastically just fresh, fruity, like little light hit as well, I think, and it follows through, and that slightly tart sharpness again keeps that refreshment going. So for a beer for me that maybe you wouldn't see very often, of course, lots of different pale ales, lots of stouts and porters out. So I think a gin botanical wit is something that you won't see very often, but I'm glad that we do bring these out. The brewers love to experiment and to play around with these different styles, and just to give people and themselves, of course, something different to drink. So one for me that I'm glad we brought back. Guinevere, the name was actually named after, we talked about it being you know, it's this Belgian style, this wit, but then we took it to gin Botanical. So we gave it like a little bit of like a fresh British twist as well. Guinevere was a medieval queen of England, married to King Arthur. So we thought we'd tie it back in with a little bit more of a historic edge there as well too. So nice one for us to do. And actually, we've just had a message here from Russell, who's our new, he's actually coming to join us. He's very keen. He's on here. He's been hanging out at the brewery, learning all about the brewery. We've been talking to him about everything. He's popped over at least once this week already before he started. So we're very excited to have him on board. He's just popped into the chat there to mention to everyone, make sure to come on down to the tap room. He's going to be there all weekend looking after anyone who comes down, having the merch, anything, pizzas, all the beers. So if you get the chance, of course, come down for our Meet the Brewer sessions, our brewery tours, but anything else, any other time you want to come along to, Russell and the team will be there looking after you as well. So definitely. Oh, and Thomas there saying, love the Guinevere during the heat wave in London this week. I can imagine. Actually, George, the sales manager, was down in London just last week, actually talking about how hot it was. So I can't imagine how everyone got through that so well. I'm sure some Guinevere did help there as well. And yeah, as we go, please keep popping those questions in. I'll tell you a little more. I believe Charlotte Walker, we've already announced all of the beers coming up next month. So they are they staggered up popping out at the minute, Charlotte. Is that right?
Sorry, you just cut out a bit there. Just say that again, James.
Sorry, I was just saying all the beers there that we, for next month, I believe they're staggered out this evening, isn't there? People are going to get an email.
Yeah, so I've already received mine. So the email's going out. So you might have already received it, but if you haven't, it's coming out to you tonight. And it's already on social media, so you can see it on there if you're eager to see what beers are next month.
Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah. So some of you may have seen it already, but we've got on there. So we've collabed with Fierce Beer. So Fierce Brewery have come and done a collaboration beer with us. We've worked with them over the years. We know the guys really well. We've done events with them in the past and things too. And so we'll put together actually a Mexican lager this time. We're keeping that lager theme going. This will be a Mexican lager with some salt and lime in there. So really, again, refreshing. We're hoping for more sunshine, maybe not quite as hot, but we're hoping for some mini heat waves maybe where we can enjoy our Mexican lagers in the sunshine. Got the latest in our series of Quiet single hop. We've got Rocky Road Pardus coming out as well, which, as you might imagine, is Pardus, our big imperial stout, and this time with the Rocky Road edition too. So we've been doing the Banoffees and all sorts of different Parduses over the last year, and we love bringing them back out. So this time, yeah, Rocky Road. If you like that style, if you like that dessert, you'll enjoy this one. And then we've got a series of our like 330 mil. We've just wanted to put in a fantastic range and really just give a full bumper pack as we go into August. We're celebrating Peakender. We're celebrating this sunshine. So we've got Melba, Zara, and Brother Rabbit in there as extras. So some of the classics beers that you've had before, the Melba, perfect summer beer. The Zara is going to go down nicely. And Brother Rabbit, our bottle conditioned. So it's got that really great citrus hit to it as well. If you're having fish and chips, it always works perfectly for me. It's such a good combination. So please, yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy that next box. We have, like I say, a bit of a bumper for the summer. Pop them all in your fridge, enjoy the gardens, enjoy the parks, and hopefully they'll go down nicely. But you'll get the full email talking about them shortly as well, and everything else we have coming up too. And so, yeah, from there, I'll tell you a little bit more about the fifth beer that we have, the final one for this evening as well. Again, any questions on those, any new any further questions on Peakender, just pop. Always keen to hear from you. You can email the Beer Club email address and talk to us through that as well. We always like to hear feedback on the beers, how the service is going, how you're enjoying Beer Club. Hopefully, you know, if you're with us this evening on a Thursday night having a nice beer, you're enjoying the Beer Club particularly as well. But please do let us know any feedback you have there. And now this beer the fifth and final one for the evening. Oh, sorry, Tom there. Melba's fantastic on cask. Looking forward to trying it in bottle. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is just a great beer. I think Dom has described it as just, you don't even have to think about it overly much. You just sit down, chill it down, and just enjoy it. The peach works fantastically well with this American hop. And it's just so drinkable. It gives you that juiciness, that refreshing, like little fruit hit. Again, in the sunshine, it's going to be perfect. And cask, it's gone down well, as you say there, Tom, already too. So, but yeah, all right. And so I'm just pouring out this beer here. So this one, I've got it, of course, in my nice beer club glass here, which I think works very well for this. So starts to get get those aromas going. Sure, Bracia, it's been a beer that has done us so well over the years, because it's been just such a hugely popular part of Thornbridge lore, really. We brewed it, you know, only in the first few years of the brewery back in 2008. We were still on our small Thornbridge Huell kit. It was Stefano and Kelly were the two brewers at the time putting it together, and they were talking about brewing a big dark beer. They wanted to do something on the whole brewery kit originally that was just a bit different. And there's a hall nearby Thornbridge Hall called Haddon Hall, and on the walls there's an inscription, and it describes a Roman era drink that was referred to as Bracia. It would have been made with a huge varieties of cereals and honey. And so they thought, well, fantastic, this is one that we can really get our teeth into. So I mean, if you look in our booklet here, I'll just show you on the July subscription. I mean, it nearly pushes it down to the bottom of the page. I'm sure you've all got it there already, but the amount of malts we've got coming in here is phenomenal, and they're all put in there. And actually, we don't even mention there's a tiny little bit of peated malt in here as well too. So if you've been a member of the beer club for a while, you've had our classic Bracia come out, and hopefully have already enjoyed that one. And that gives you, again, that peated note should start to come through there. But what we also have with Bracia that adds something to it, again, I talked about all those cereals they wanted to have, like in the Roman era version, but it also mentioned honey. And so Stefano and Kelly at the time thought about it, and they said, okay, we want to add some honey. We want to make it as close as possible to the original, but we don't just want to add in lots of over sickly sweet honey that's going to add too much to this. We want to have something with a nice bitterness. And so Stefano knew of literally in the foothills of the Alpine foothills of northern Italy, he was able to source this very specific chestnut honey. So the bees would feed upon the chestnuts, and it would end up with this fantastic, like rich, hugely deep, but also bitter honey that came from that area. So he sourced this in, literally brought it over in these huge tubs, fresh from Italy, and we added it in with the beer as well. And the guys had tried it first just to make sure they were happy, and realized it did work really well. So that's where the original Bracia had come from. That was kind of the key secret ingredient almost to it, really. And when we launched it, it quickly became our best rated beer. It had 100 out of 100 on Rate Beer, and still does now. And really sort of helped put us on the map. You know, at the time, people would seek out this beer from us. We were brewing all these fantastic beers. Jaipur was getting very well known, but people said, wow, they can also make these unique and unusual, big, strong, rich dark ales as well. So it helped us bump our reputation. And so with that, as I say, you will have tried the Bracia, hopefully in the last one. But we thought we'd just do something else with it. You know, it's been that with us for that long, but we say, okay, we've been working with these bourbon barrels already. We, of course, do the Necessary Evil series, which now is one of our like best rated beers as well. Every time we put that one into bourbon barrels and all the new variants, the feedback is so phenomenal. So we thought, well, we've got this big, rich dark ale. We're going to add it into these barrels. It actually comes out at 12%, so even stronger than when we're adding it in originally. And for me, it's just, I mean, we talked about hiding the strength of the 3.3, the small pale at first, because it tasted stronger. But this one here, it does give you such a hit. There's so much booze, but it just drinks. It drinks so well, which is dangerous at the same time. So again, if I pop it in here, I give it a swirl round, you can see that head stays fantastically well here. And so we actually bottle these beers with champagne yeast. So we're adding it from the cask. It's a little flat coming out. We want to get it back up. So we condition it by adding in the champagne yeast into the bottles there as well. And then after that, that helps to give it a carbonation. No extra flavor, but that carbonation comes through really well, keeps you that nice head. And after that, it's just pitch black. I mean, if you hold the flavor starts coming through on the nose, you get that bourbon that you'd expect. You get a little bit of like, again, that slight like, not getting into that kind of herbal floral note as well before that big dark sweet, the dark fruits that you're expecting, the plums and raisins, everything starts to come in from it. And for me, it's just phenomenal. It's up there with Necessary Evil for me as well. Really one of my favorite beers already after just having tried. Of course, I had to try a cheeky one in advance of this as well. And then just popping one open tonight to drink. I'll be sitting here sipping it and, you know, having moved into a new house and really enjoying it with this big bourbon barrel Bracia. So hopefully it going down for everyone else as well. These beers out, pop them in your cellar, pop them in a certain space in your house where you like to keep them, and just try it, you know, down the line, say in 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, anything like that, you'll be able to find it. And then some couple of questions coming in here as well. Lots of love for Bracia. Melba's the one you managed to miss. So Paul, you're in luck there. You've got the Bracia coming in. Alan's loving the Bracia as well. And so, yeah, we've got lots of love for it. So thank you. I'm glad you've all enjoyed the Bracia. People have been already ordering more. Thomas has already ordered more Bracia too. So thanks, guys. It's appreciated. This one, like I say, they're all going to be limited coming out of the barrels. So please take advantage while you can. And again, if you get some and do age them out, it's only going to get better over the next few months or year or two with it on there. You can see on the back here, it's got up until the end of the year for the best before as well, but it'll hold well through that if you want to keep aging them out as well. So any other questions there? Do you brew Bracia the same recipe? Yes, Paul. Yeah, so we brew Bracia the same. Again, we're harking back to using the different, that specific honey that I mentioned as well. We're still able to source that. So we bring that honey in and use, again, that wide range of different malts that we're using in there. So we wanted to be exact to it, brew the same beer to try and barrel age it out. It's the first time that we have barrel aged it though, other than that. Charlotte Walker, was I missing any questions or anything at all there? Was it, was anything? I think I've got to a few. Again, lots of love for Bracia.
Yeah, that's it. Just lots of love for Bracia, really. That you've picked up on the last question, which was the only question, I think. So, all good.
Oh, actually, just spot on there from Paul, please.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, something about it. Is there going to be a series like Necessary Evil of Bracia?
Well, it depends if everyone keeps telling us how much they enjoy it. We've got Dom on the line here, who's you know, it's his call. So just tell Dom how much you've enjoyed it, how much you love it, and you never know. Yeah,
I mean, Bracia is obviously, as James alluded to, our highest rated ever beer. So it was a tough call whether or not we actually wanted to mess around with it by even barrel aging it the first time. But I think Necessary Evil is a different beast. I think as an imperial stout, you've got a much almost plainer base to deal with. So all of the variations that are coming out of Necessary Evil, that you can really pick up on the different barrels that we use. I think Bracia is such a complicated beer, the original one, in terms of the varying malts. And as James said, that tiny amount of peated malt makes a real difference. The chestnut honey, the bitterness, and everything else going on. It's a really, really complex beer. And when I tried the barrel aged version, I sat there and I thought, you know, I wonder if that's something that's going to mellow out or how it's going to age and such like. And I'm not really sure we can probably add that much to it by aging it in different barrels. I think the Necessary Evil is the one that you'll continue to see a few more variants of. The barrel aged Bracia, I think, is probably going to be a one-off. I think we're probably get ahead of ourselves a little bit and waste very high value barrels putting it in there, because I'm just not sure we can really benefit the flavors of Bracia like we can in Necessary Evil.
So while you've got it, take advantage of it. Is as I was saying there. It's yeah. Again, hold them down, put them in your cellar wherever you like. But yes, it's as Dom says though. If you like the Necessary Evil and those barrel aged variants, keep an eye out for them. Paul, yeah, Paul says, yeah, just brew it a bit more often. So yeah, I mean, hey, again, if it goes down well and everyone's enjoying it, there's certainly no reason for us to come in. Just email us, let us know your thoughts on it, how you've tried it. I mean, you know, we always put these food pairings, we put these different things. If you're enjoying it and you found something that you really enjoy it with, we've seen a couple of them actually. People have been tweeting to us with their Salica and different beers over the weekend. We're always excited to see and hear about these as well. So please, yeah, just keep tagging us in. You know, and you're enjoying them. It really is interesting for us to see. So thank you for everyone who does already send them over as well. And from there, I think that takes us through all the beers this evening. If you've got there, Dom, who here is coming to Peakender, that's always good. Who is coming along? Let us know if you are, because as I mentioned, we're all going to be there. Like Charlotte, we're probably all going to be covered in beer from run around and get everything ready and pouring beer here too. So come along. There's Tom, Steve, Aled, everyone's all there. Yeah, come find us. I know it's going to be nice to see people in person who are able to make it along. We appreciate you all coming and doing these Thursday evenings with us once a month to let us tell you all about these beers. Let us talk your ears off for a while and hopefully enjoy a couple of beers with us while we do it. If you do come back to them, please just pop on YouTube and find them as well. Lots of more there coming along too, all coming in mentioning they're going to Peakender. So we'll certainly see you all there. And like I say, I'll be in. Charlotte mentioned Dom Driscoll, who has been on a couple of these now. He's going to be there taking people around on the tours. I'll be down there just saying hello, having a bit of a chat to everyone as you come through, probably helping myself some of the past pastries, or maybe a cheeky beer as well. Splendor, come and see us at Tramlines, and you can find us anywhere. But yeah, again, thank you all very much for joining us this evening, and particularly Nick, thank you very much for coming on, talking to us all about the beer, brewing the beers with us as well. Thank you to Charlotte and to Dom as well for jumping on.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, Nick. Thank you. Cool. All right. Well, good night, guys. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening and see you all soon, hopefully.